Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Smitty Conversation Talk, and today we're going to break down the dynamics of self esteem. But before I get started, please like the video, please subscribe, and also leave a comment. Whether you agree or disagree with the content, I think it's all relative, and I think it's a great way for us to build and a way for us to grow, okay? So please comment below. Today, we're going to talk about the dynamics of self esteem, okay? And this is one topic where I get a lot of questions about because I think people as a whole just, they struggle with self-esteem or they struggle with learning how to maintain and balance their self-esteem. And I think it's important to realize that there's three different categories of self-esteem, right? But before we get into that, let's break down self-esteem. So the word esteem by itself is value of self, right? When you put self in front of it, is your interpretation of value of self, right? So when you take self away, put high, then you have a high interpretation of value of self. When you take that away, put low, you got a low interpretation of value of self, right? So let's put self back there. So with self, we want to have good self-esteem, and that's what it's all about, right? And I feel like the reason why people struggle with having good self-esteem is because with the three categories of self-esteem, which I'm going to break down in a second, either people put too much stock in a certain category or people don't put enough stock in a certain category. So I'm going to break down all three categories, and if you can balance this out, I think it will help you out with your self-esteem. Now keep in mind, this is an ongoing thing, and every single day you can practice having good self-esteem, okay? If you meditate, this is a good meditation to help balance your value of self, okay? So the three categories are called three me's, right? So the three me's is the social me, the spiritual me, and the material me, right? No order, but those are the three me's. So first I'm going to break down the social me. So the social me is important, right? The social me is how I'm looked at in society. So if my son looks at me as a good father, that's good for my confidence. If my wife looks at me as a good husband, that's good for my confidence. If my coworkers look at me as a good colleague, that's good for my confidence, right? And when I talk to my clients about me, I don't care about nobody think about me. Perception is part of the maturing process. And a lot of times people are like, man, they hating. It's a difference between perception and hating. If I come to work late every single day, right, and I'm tired at work or I'm falling asleep, if someone says, John, you're lazy, the perception I'm giving off is that I'm lazy, and I'm giving that off to myself. I'm putting that out there, right? Now, if I come to work on time every single day, right, I work hard from the time I clock in to the time I clock out, and people are like, oh man, he lazy. That's hating. Y'all see the difference? So, it feels good to have people give you a good label, right? Whether you're trustworthy, whether you have integrity, that stuff feels good, and it does help your self-esteem. Now, the kicker is we just want to be mindful about overexerting ourselves to create a social me, if that makes sense. So there's a term called people pleasing where I need to be accepted. I need people to love me. So because I need people to love me, I go out my way. Ain't I cool? Ain't I lovely? Don't you want to be my friend, right? And I go out my way to overexert myself. And people are fickle. Everyone's not going to accept me as a friend. Everybody's not going to treat me the same way I may treat them, right? And if you have too much stock in that, then what can happen is that once people let you down, or once you don't get the label you want, that can cause your self-esteem to go down. So it has to be balanced. If my son gets mad at me because I told him to put down the video game or stop playing the game today so he can focus on his work, and he says, daddy, you get on my nerves, da 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 da. It doesn't mean I'm a bad dad. I know I'm a good dad, right? It just means that right now he's upset, and I need to make sure that I keep that foundation of the social media intact, that I know I'm a good dad, even though he may be changing that label on me right now. Tomorrow he'll be like, oh, dad, I love you, man. I'm sorry, right? Okay, so that's the social me. The next one is the material me. So the material me is another one that I find often people put a lot of stock in the material me, right? What shoes you got on your feet? Man, you got them fresh J's, right? What car? Oh man, see, you got them wheels, man, they keep spinning. I don't know, people still have the rims that keep spinning. But people put a lot of stock in the material me. And granted, it is, if you work hard and you're able to afford a nice car, a nice house, some nice things in your house, right? If you work hard and you're able to afford some nice kicks on your feet, then salute to you, man. You deserve it if you worked hard and you earned it, right? There's nothing wrong with it, because that does build your self-esteem. If I worked hard all week, and I'm able to get, I don't care if it's a pair of socks. I don't care if it's a pair of socks. You should be proud of yourself, right? No matter what it is. I don't think it's nothing expensive. If you worked all week to get you some ice cream and you earned it, if you worked hard all week to get you a t-shirt, you earned it, right? You should be proud of yourself, and that should help build your self-esteem. It should, right? The kicker is when you put too much stock into the material me, right? So I'll give you two examples. I have guys that I work with, clients, and they'll spend their whole check on 2 pairs of Jordans. And it's like, man, that it's kind of like a desperation for acceptance, which ties into the social me, right? But you having those Jordans, so people can say, "Ooh, I like your shoes. I like your shoes." But meanwhile, you're broke. You don't have money in your account. You can't pay your bills. A lot of individuals do that, where they might spend a huge amount of money they can't afford just because of status symbol. It's the reason why they have the Mercedes symbol, status symbol. Some people are desperate for them status symbols, even if they don't have it in their account. I'd rather look like I have it than to actually have it in my account, right? Some of the young ladies, I have clients that come in, makeup all done, and they might have some revealing clothes on, and I might say, hey, I didn't know it was I might joke with them like, hey, I didn't know it was a beauty pageant today. Oh, stop it. And what some of the female counselors that I work with do, they require their young ladies to not wear makeup, and to come dressed down to group. And the reason for that is because, one, sometimes what happens is that if I'm trying to cover up something, or if I have a void inside of me, I need that attention of someone looking at me, right? Males and females do the same thing. And it's important that, if your materialistic things make up who you are, and let's say you just start feeling yourself, or as all your stock is tied into the material part of you, then just like a snap of a finger, things can be taken away, right? Just like a snap of a finger, and you can come crashing down. So let's say I do have a nice car. Let's say I do have nice clothes or a nice house. It should be something that helps my self-esteem out. I should feel good about it, but it shouldn't make up who I am, right? It's not, it's look who's in that car, it's John. It's John's driving that car. Does that make sense? So we want to make sure that our these materialistic things in general, aren't making up who we are, right? All right, so the last one is the spiritual me. So the spiritual me can be important for a vast amount of reasons, right? So one, if you got a spiritual connection with your higher power, and you're following the word or whatever you believe in, man. If you feel like you're walking the walk in your higher power, and you're doing things that you feel like is pleasing your higher power, and you seeing blessings come upon you because of those things, that's a beautiful thing, and you should feel confident. If your higher power doing some things in your life, and you walk in that walk, you should have good self-esteem. That self-esteem, it feels good. That does help with your self-esteem when you're following your spirituality, right? Also, what spirituality means is being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. So if you're a part of a movement that's powerful, like let's say you're walking for autism, or you walking for breast cancer, you helping feed the homeless, If you're a part of a movement that's bigger than yourself, you should be proud of that as well, right? Because that's a huge thing. Spirituality is what helps you, wake up in the morning time. I have the spirit to go do these things and do that thing. Spirituality is important because now you have faith. When things in my life, it could be hell breaking loose everywhere, but my spirituality is helping me stay on my swivel, right? Now it's connected. If my social me right? There might be times where I'm doing everything right and my friends just turn their backs on me, right? But the spiritual part of me can say, hey, you okay, John? If anybody else turn their back, I got you. So the spiritual part is important. Now, the kicker to that is to make sure that you remember that, you know, just because you're at a certain level in your spirituality, don't start judging people that's not where you're at, right? So, I participate in a lot of spiritual activities like church, and sometimes that happens when people forget like you were where somebody else who's new was at. And just because you reach a certain level in your spirituality doesn't mean you're judgmental, doesn't mean you're bashing people, doesn't mean you're closing doors for individuals that's trying to get to your level. Does that make sense? Because what can happen, because I truly believe in spirituality, and I believe that once you start, you know, feeling yourself or smelling yourself, that your higher power, who you're going to bat for, and maybe you be putting other people down for, will show you, yo, man, you was just that person last week, and will humble you. All right. So that's just my take on it. It's important to put good stock in all three. The material me is important, right? The spiritual me is very important, and also I said the social me is also important as well. Okay, so leave me a comment, and you guys have a good one.